It's been a long, stressful day. After working your ass off, you come to a place your brain is seeking a refuge from reality. You realize that you can do it either by reading a fiction book that you have been planning to read for 5 months, or you can take the easiest route by spending your next 2 hours by doom scrolling in social media. The catch is that the accounts you follow or friends with is either your friends or it is the news outlets or people who talk about politics. To speak honestly of the situation, you miss those days when you didn't know much about the world and you only read fiction and fun fact books. But you also realize that it is not your mistake that you have interest in politics. It is just how human societies are. Politics is a indistinguishable part of human societies. Anything and everything that the product of human society is political, and it is very important to learn and experience the social realities and the social relations that exist for better understanding of the world, because you are also the part of the same society. And moreover that, to be clear, having interest in politics isn't even a mistake. Well, the point is, you are interested in politics. The only difference between you and those other people who consume politics just for the sake of drama or entertainment is that you are interested in such kind of a politics which is concerned about the wellness of the people who are less privileged and have less power. People getting stepped on cannot be used as a source of entertainment. It affects us, it affects our material conditions, it affects our lives. And you realize that is the mistake you made. You have learned, realized, and also seen that how the world actually works. And because of the accounts you follow, you are seeing and realizing more and more that how the world is designed to work. As you scroll and scroll, there are countless examples of different stories and happenings in the history or the present which repeatedly say that how various societies came into existence. Ironically, some of the societies think that they hold the moral high ground in various present day world conflicts, but the truth is, these societies as well are built on colonization and genocide of the indigenous populations. And there is a repetition of these historical happenings, a repetition of the same colonization projects and genocides that these civilized empires committed in various other countries and communities. But the present one is just digitalized. I am talking about the Israel Palestine conflict, and the sole reason for this conflict are the Western powers, specifically the US and the UK governments, and the Zionist project included. Well, reading about the recent genocide that is happening, how the people have been living there, the blockades, the sanctions, the deaths, the bombings, the history of that land, when you see all that while scrolling over social media and reading books, it really depresses you to your core. And also, I acknowledge that my emotions are irrelevant and meaningless in the broad context of the suffering of Palestinians. When I'm scrolling, I'm reminding myself that the world doesn't have to be this way, that even when I'm tired, my attention can still carry weight, that silence is not neutral, it's siding with the oppressor. What's happening with Palestinians is a kind of a crime that the world should be talking more on and should ideally work together to stop it from happening again and again. Yes, again, it's the repetition of the history. Ethnic cleansing like this happened countless number of times in the modern history. Ironically, the people didn't learn shit. Second, ironically, Jews who escaped Nazi Germany settled in Palestine because of the popularity of Zionism with the help of the Western powers. They did what Nazis did to them to the Palestinian population in 1948. In 1948, over 7 lakh Palestinians were forcibly displaced, and it is that the Palestinians called the Nakba or the catastrophe, when the Israeli state was founded on their ruins, and they are doing it again in the present to the Palestinian population. It's really depressing to see that humanity hasn't learned anything from history. On the surface, it might seem like common sense. Shouldn't people be more outrageous? And they should have a sense of disgust against the atrocities that is happening in Palestine. But unfortunately, that is not what is happening. Bad faith actors frame the people who are actively pointing out the genocide happening. Bad faith actors frame the people who are actively pointing out the genocide that is happening as anti Semite or even Nazis, whereas the actions of their and the ideology they subscribe to is closer and more aligned with the Nazism/slash fascism. They will not accept that. Reason is very simple. The victims of the Zionists are the new targeted community of the world, specifically the Western world, Muslims/slash Arabs. So it's easier to frame them as terrorists. We are so much propagandized to the core that when we are said to think of a terrorist figure, we mostly will think of a bearded guy with a skull cap and holding a gun. But we have historical figures who have committed far, far worse atrocities and terrorized people, but we hardly ever mention them as terrorists. For some examples, Christopher Columbus, who is not very well known for his questionable actions against Native Americans, white Americans celebrate the day he arrived to America. Winston Churchill and his racist policies killed many Indians and people in other places where the British had colonized. The micro mustached, micro penis guy who killed 2 million people because of their identity. That's just few examples that is coming to my mind at the moment, but I'm sure that there are such figures throughout the history. But the point is, we never think of them as terrorists. If you assume a Arab or a Muslim as terrorist, then it is just racism you are committing. And to bring more nuance to the situation, countries like US and the Western powers have framed many freedom struggles which don't align with their exploitative capitalist policies as terrorist movements. Best example that people give is Nelson Mandela, the person which the history will always remember as a non-violent figure. Obviously, that's a false framing, but for the moment, consider that's true. He was, with his party African National Congress, was designated on the terror watch list in the 1980s by the US. Actually, to be honest, when I first heard about this, I thought that this is wild. When oppressed people resist, their actions are dissected with moral precision, while on the other hand, state violence is always portrayed as defense. And it was necessary and unavoidable. If resistance isn't polite, it's vilified. But what does politeness mean under an apartheid regime where starvation, surveillance, and bombings are normalized? So, why did I bring this point up? First of all, this is my hot take. Hamas isn't a terrorist organization, neither its political wing nor its militant wing. Does that mean that I'm ideologically aligned with Hamas? No, with a hard N. Do I condemn Hamas for October 7? No, because the actions of Hamas was a desperate attempt against the apartheid regime. And also, it is not me who should decide on what the Palestinians should do as an act of resistance when they are living under an apartheid regime for over 70 years. So now you know my position on the Israel-Palestine conflict, but why does that even matter? This is a kind of question which always triggers me and should always trigger you. It's like when there is a fire on someone's house in a village, and if you sit silently thinking that fire is not on your home, then let me tell you, you are a fucking dumbass. This fire spreads. And as a society, it's the duty of every single person who is a part of the society, who enjoys the fruits of the society, should be empathetic on each other and work together to stop that fire. The liberation of Palestine resonates with people in other parts of the world as well. It isn't bound by its borders. It's part of the same global struggle. It's tied to stand where indigenous peoples defend water against corporate greed. It's tied to where resources are mined through exploitation. It resonates in Kashmir, where occupation silences dissent. These struggles are not separate and isolated. They are different faces of the same empire. Well, if you think standing for people in other parts of the world is quite a common sense, If you care for others, the society cares for you. Moreover, that isn't that more of a humanist perspective to raise voice against the people who are being ill-treated? I mean, to be honest, it's dumb that I'm even trying to prove you why that matters. Ideally, I shouldn't be, because that should be the default position of the society, to stand against the killings of children. I mean, it's a freaking genocide. Take up. You can see the targets of the IDF isn't the Hamas. It isn't Israel Hamas war. It is Israel's ethnic cleansing of Gaza and genocidal campaign against the Palestinians, and it's been 21 months. For God's sake, at least speak out now. Palestinian liberation isn't just for Palestinians, it is a liberation which is important to all of those formerly and presently under colonial rule. One I can remember now is the California occupied by the US. It is a spark of hope for many of the workers in the world who have lost their consciousness due to toiling and fighting for survival in the brutal machines of capitalism. It is a spark of hope for those downtrodden communities who have been persecuted for decades or rather centuries and are still under the wheels of capitalism. It is a struggle for all. None of us would be free until every one of us is free. It is not just a fight against the colonialism or apartheid. It's against the whole of the system of oppression and exploitation. It against those companies which unknowingly are funding or lobbying the Israeli government for their benefits. It against those governments which knowingly trade with the Israeli government to have better relations with the West. It's against those people who think it is cool to kill people and torture them. I know those people aren't that effective, but trust me, I've seen more and more people subscribing to that way of thought due to rise of fascism in my country. Well, yes, it's a movement that isn't just connected with human rights and social justice. It's an issue which is also important from the global climate perspective as well. Bombing a fertile and diverse land as Palestine is a loss to the humanity. And there are many reports and articles which talk about how the Israeli bombings are contributing to the global carbon emission. You can go and read those articles for yourself, but I will be linking one of them in the description. When I was talking about the climate and Palestine relation, it is very important to talk about Greta as well. Boarding over an aid ship which the Israel has bombed before is crazy brave. Knowing that we might die and boarding over to bring aid to Palestine, that's the kind of bravery that every person needs. See, we should know at this point this attempt was not just to carry aid to Palestinians, because if they want to do that, then it should be done in. See, we should know at this point this attempt was not just to carry aid to Palestinians, because if they wanted to do that, then they could have done that with the help of other orgs in a large scale, not just one ship, but by fleet of ships. This attempt was to show that Israel's target isn't Hamas. It was and is Palestinian civilians. Starving them by blockade and sanctions cannot be called other than evil. The mission that the Freedom Flotilla seems to have undertaken is that to show the ground realities of aid in Gaza. The mission that the Freedom Flotilla seems to have undertaken is that to show the ground realities of aid in Gaza, if the mission is successful. If it isn't, we can see the pure cruelty of the Israeli state and its policies against Palestinians. Moreover, that I feel that Freedom Flotilla movement didn't end, but rather it should be a start of new way of pro-Palestinian protests. And the Freedom Flotilla was just the start of that. Seeing FF sail towards Gaza was incredibly hopeful in a world as sad and hopeless as this. And also kidnapping of the borders by Israel to stop the aid from reaching was also not very surprising move by Israel. It is now our chance to educate, agitate, and organize the crowds. We can already see Freedom Flotilla beginning to the spark. We can see Moroccan, Tunisian, Algerian activists marching towards Gaza to break the siege there. We as people should pressurize our governments to break ties with Israel, donating for Palestine and talking more about what is happening there. We as people who stand for a free Palestine should understand that free Palestine means more than just the end of bombing. It means children growing up with dreams instead of drone sounds, farmers returning to their olive groves, poets writing in Arabic without fear, We don't need permission to stand with the oppressed. We need courage. If you are tired, rest, but don't look away. It's very important to keep on talking and writing about what's happening there until the apartheid ends and every one of us is free. And this was my day 2 of my political diaries. So, subscribe, get more recommendations, and see more videos of mine. Thank you.